Love you.
All right, so welcome back to another episode of Brad and Mira for the Culture. I'm Brad Listi, here with my friend and co-host, Mira Gonzalez.
Hello, Brad.
First of all, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Simon & Schuster, publisher of a new novel called Tilt by Emma Paty. And Tilt is it's a story that is kind of about, I think, this fault line off the coast of the Pacific Northwest. There was a big article in the New Yorker a few years ago that freaked everybody out because it basically talked about what would happen if there was an earthquake of magnitude off the coast of the Pacific Northwest. It would send a tsunami of terrifying proportions, like barreling towards Portland, Seattle, and whatnot. So I think that's what this novel is about. It's called Tilt. It's by Emma Paty. It will terrify you.
Sounds fun. I love being terrified.
Yeah. So Mira can be found on social media. What's your handle again, Mira?
It's Mira Gonz, Gonz. And I'm on Twitter and Instagram, and I think that's it. Letterboxd, but I don't really use it.
I'm on Bluesky and Instagram, and I can never remember my handle, but I think it's at Otherppl. And then on Instagram, it's at otherppl.podcast. So you can follow us on social media if you so desire. And there's a lot to cover this week.
And
Mira,
you can listen wherever you get your podcasts, right, Brad?
Yeah, you can subscribe to this show wherever you get your podcasts.
That's right.
And it would be great if you left us a review. All that kind of stuff would help the cause.
You can send us letters at Otherppl, and there's a chance we'll read them on the show.
That's right. If you have feedback for us, you can email the show. The address is letters@otherppl.com.
That's right. I think that's all the promo we have to do before we get started on our very exciting topic, which I love covering each and every week, which is the Baldwins on TLC. Brad, you watched the Baldwins this week?
I sure did.
Me as well. I got real stoned last night. I turned on the Baldwins. I opened up my notebook and I took my little notes as I do every Sunday or Monday. And it was a pretty good episode. I thought. What did you think? Do you think it was a good episode?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't as good as last week. I feel like last week was maybe the masterpiece. It was the pinnacle.
Yeah, last week was, I think, the best episode so far. I think this episode doesn't quite beat it, but we did have some really good moments. So the episode started out with a topic that's been addressed a couple times on the podcast, which is that Alec is a truly horrible driver to the point where his entire family constantly begs him not to drive.
So that answers it. We kind of speculated about this because Hilaria on the show is always behind the wheel.
Right. And there was like in episode 1, I think, the kids like were basically saying like, Mom, you drive. Like, no, Alec, don't drive. And like, for children to notice that you're a bad driver, like, you gotta be a really fucking bad driver. That's crazy.
I gotta believe his road rage is substantial.
Like, that must be a lot of it. The kids are like, Dad's getting mad. We don't want Dad getting angry.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
I'd be curious to know, though, like, why he's bad. Is it because he rages, or is it because he has trouble, like, focusing, or does he drive too fast? Like, there's lots of different ways to be a bad driver.
I'll bet he's really impatient, and he rages, and he drives too fast. That seems like the type of driver he would be. Like, my theory is that the type of driving that you do mimics the type of personality that you have, and he seems to have kind of an edgy, like, ready to get angry at any moment sort of personality going on there, like, kind of a speeding around people sort of personality, you know?
I have some road rage.
Do you
I can
really?
relate. A little bit, yeah.
I get really angry at people who don't understand how to zipper merge. That shit fucks me up. I'm like, you motherfucker. Like, it is, you learn it, you're in Los Angeles, you zipper merge. Just
what does that even mean, zipper merge?
Well, you can imagine it goes like, you know, one car merges, the other car merges, one car merges, the other car merges, like a zipper. Yeah. So it's like if there's 4 cars in front of you, don't just speed up and not let the other car behind you merge. Like, it's insane.
And use your fucking turn signals, too.
Yeah, it's like, do you want to get in a fucking terrible car accident? I feel like Alec does that. Like, he's one of those people on the freeway when, like, everyone's going, like, 60. He's going, like, 75 and just, like, weaving in between lanes like a fucking crazy person. And so it makes sense they didn't ask him to drive.
I have cat-like reflexes, and I love
Cat-like
speed.
reflexes. Of anybody, Alec Baldwin does not have those. So it then goes on to another subject that is addressed on the show pretty regularly, which is, and this is the main episode where they address it, which is their fucking dogs. They have so fucking many of them. They're shitting everywhere. So, I mean, first of all, train your fucking dogs. Just train them. Just make sure that they're trained, right? Like,
This is a huge pet peeve of mine, is most people, I would even say, like a majority of dog owners have no idea how to train a dog.
it's insane. And it's like, I have two dogs that are basically an affront to nature and never should have existed. I have a Pomeranian and a Corgi, and it's kind of like, I can't believe we did this to wolves. But like, and they're annoying and they'll bark when people come in the house and stuff, and it's kind of hard to stop them because they're really stupid. But like, they don't piss in the house. I made sure they don't piss in the house. They're very good about that. They don't run away from me. If I say come here, they come back. Like, I don't have them off leash because I know that they're dumb. Like, they're like not doing the shit that Alec Baldwin's dogs are doing. Like, and like if they're barking and I tell them to shut up, they'll shut up. It's not that hard. I'm not like a good disciplinarian, but it wasn't that hard.
And like housebreaking your dog is one of the easiest things
It's one of the
for
easiest.
yeah, I mean, I get that if your dog has some sort of serious health issue and it's incontinent,
Sure.
that's one thing. But
Yeah.
if like your dog is a relatively healthy adult and it's shitting all over your, living room or whatever, you're just
Right.
neglecting the dog. Like let the dog outside.
Yeah, let the dog outside. Exactly. And like, to be clear, I have a paraplegic dog who is sometimes incontinent, and she doesn't even shit in the house because we make sure to take her outside regularly enough that she's doing that shit outside. And occasionally there's an accident, but like, generally speaking, we're paying enough attention to her that like we're taking her outside to do her business. Like, even then, it's like that is the one situation where it's okay, but even then you can do things. It's not a done deal there. But these dogs are, I don't know, they're completely fucked. And Hilaria has this claim, which maybe you can tell me whether or not it's even possible that this is true. She said that the dogs used to be trained, used to not shit in the house and be insane, and now they've somehow untrained themselves. Is that even possible?
I find it I find it hard to believe.
I feel like with my dog, who again is like 7 pounds and a dumbass, like w- maybe if I left him in the house for days, he would probably shit in the house, but like he would be like really hesitant to. Like, they really like don't want to shit in the house once you teach them not to shit in the house. And these dogs
Yeah.
are just shitting in the house with abandon. They're just having fun.
So here's a question that came to my mind as I was watching this. Like, is there any chance in the like convoluted world of reality television that they just created this storyline out of thin air
No,
and just like brought in dog shit from outside and
no,
put it in the living room?
absolutely not. Those dogs are crazy. You can tell that they're insane. We also see them shitting in the house at one point. Like, there's like they record the dog shitting in the house. And like I've said in the past, rich people love to have a million dogs that are shitting everywhere. I don't know what the fuck it is. It's like they see a cute dog at the store and they're like, I have to have it. And then just like don't bother to train it or take care of it or anything or something like that. Like, it's like something that I like wrote down a list of rich people that I can think of off the top of my head who have dogs that are shitting everywhere. Like, it's a significant number. It's fucked up.
It's funny that you say that because I'm thinking now to when I was in high school and I had this girl that I went to high school with would have these crazy parties at her house and her parents were rich or like semi-rich and they had this big house like kind of out in the they had acreage and she would have these big parties and they had this fucking Great Dane
Mm-hmm.
and it would shit in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how big a dog shit, you know how big a
Dude.
Great Dane shits? It's like bigger than a human.
I mean, a Great Dane is fucking gigantic, like
Yeah.
fucking huge. That's like that's insane, and that's like exactly right. Is like rich people will just have a fucking Great Dane, and it's shitting in the house, and they're just like, oh, I don't know, I guess my dog shits in the house, as if that's not a problem that they can solve. Like, it's
Uh,
fucking crazy.
I'm not going to have to pick it up.
Yeah, like, well, someone's gonna pick up that dog shit, I guess. Oh no, like, it's fucking nuts. And then Alec revealed that him and Kim Basinger had 13 dogs. 13 fucking dogs. How big was their house?
See, okay, I think it was Hilaria who said this. She was like, "Alec and his ex-wife used to have 13 dogs, so I
Right.
know that he loves dogs."
But
It's
how does he
like,
know Kim Basinger wasn't just an agent of chaos sent to make Alec's life hell as well?
well, but I mean, what it made me realize is that this is a pattern in his life.
Yes.
Like, he only had 1 child with Kim, but they had 13 dogs, which is I mean, just I don't care how much you love dogs.
That's crazy. It
That's a
it makes
crazy
me
amount.
it makes me feel like those dogs aren't getting loved. It's like to me, you can't really like pay enough attention to 13 dogs. Like that's too many. You need like if you really love your dogs, like you can't have that many and give them an equal amount of love and attention. There's just too many.
You're like collecting dogs at that point.
Right.
You're not, like, taking care of them. You're just like it's like they're little objects that you collect.
Exactly. And it's like up to this point, I thought Hilaria was the one doing that entirely. And clearly she is the one doing it with the cats because they're going to kill Alec any day now. But the dogs, it seems like Alec is more to blame for that than he's claiming. He's like, oh, these fucking dogs. Yet he had 13 dogs, which means that like he has been just haunted by dogs for like over 2 decades.
And whenever he gets into a relationship,
It's
his
like
tendency is to just, like,
just collect dogs.
just populate the
Just
house
more and
with as
more
many
dogs.
with just more creatures, whether it's a
Right.
kid or it's a cat or it's a dog, like,
Right.
he wants it. He
Right.
wants this, like, chaos around him.
I think he like fears being alone to like a ridiculous degree where he has to like not only have humans everywhere, but he has to have animals in case the humans are like not there for 2 seconds. And that way he's got like, dog shit to clean up after or whatever so he can feel purposeful. Like it's completely insane. He acts like he like can't stand the dogs, but I have to imagine that his dogs with Kim Basinger were probably untrained too. Like, they probably were also shitting everywhere. 13 dogs in New York City? That's fucking insane. He's just
I
been
don't
tormented by shitting dogs for 2 decades.
I don't know if they lived in New York City. I think they might have lived out on Long Island, but, whatever the case, like,
Man, you would
just
need
a
like a farm for that to work, and then like farm hands to take care of the dogs. They need to be like herding dogs for that to make any sense.
even then,
And even then,
even on, like, a working farm, we're talking, like, 5 or 6 dogs max.
yeah,
13 dogs is crazy.
that's like
It's
more
just
than a dog would like than dogs would naturally be in like a fucking pack. Like that's like so fucking many.
yeah,
That's
it's obnoxious and inexcusable, and, now they're at home. I don't even know how many dogs they have. Is it just cat like, their dogs, on the show, the ones that are causing all this trouble, shitting all over the place are named Cappuccina and Macchiata.
Yeah, I think they have a couple more dogs than that, but clearly, like, the problem dogs are Cappuccina and Macchiata, which I have to say are really very cute names for dogs. It's like the girl version of Cappuccino and Macchiato, and because they're girl dogs, like that is I have to hand it to them. That's really fucking adorable. And they're
Is it
Pomeranians.
is that a Cappuccina? That's, like, how you say it in Spanish, though, right? Like,
I don't
it's a nod to the motherland. Cappuccina.
maybe well, I think they're Italian words is the thing. So I think
Oh,
in
right.
Spanish you probably say it the same, like cappuccino macchiato, like we do. But in Italian, I think it might be, although I have no fucking idea. But either way, I think it's a pretty adorable name for dogs.
Don't whiz on my $40,000 hand-knitted Parisian
That
rug.
was the other fucking crazy thing. These dogs are pissing and shitting everywhere. They're doing close-ups of the dog shit, and then Alec
Over and over again. It's like, I get it.
repeated.
I get it. Like, we're getting, like I can see, like, the contents of the feces because
Yeah,
they're zooming in, so, it's too much.
yeah, I know how big the dog shit is. I know what texture it is. Like, I don't need to know that. You don't have to go in that closely on the dog shit. That is ridiculous. And then Alec says
It's a little bit sadistic is
it's a
what it
little
is.
it's kind of very sadistic. And then Alec is then busts out that he has bought a $40,000 hand woven rug in a house full of dogs that piss and shit everywhere. That's kind of on you, Alec. He's like, don't whiz on my $40,000 rug. Why do you have a $40,000 rug in this chaos hell that you live in?
Well, I think he bought it before he had all these kids and animals, but,
Man. Except that
still, I
he's
like
had 13 dogs with Kim Basinger, so like when did he ever not have kids and animals? It was for like a couple years maybe.
who I don't know, $40,000 for a fucking rug?
Yeah, also $40,000 for a rug that isn't even that like fucking exciting. It's not like a fucking like antique Persian rug or something. Like it's like Like fucking hand woven. Okay, I can hand weave things. It's not like it's not the most exciting rug. It's like insane to spend that much money on that fucking rug. Like you would never know that it was worth that much money. It's so stupid. And then the dog's shit all over it. And
We
it's
need new everything. We need to replace everything in this house, Hilaria.
that's what he said. He said, "We need new everything. We have to replace everything." He, like, word for word, that is a quote. And I don't blame him. I'd kind of feel the same way. Um, so they do bring in a dog trainer in this episode, to try to train these dogs, and we don't really see her doing anything of note. Like, it kind of, the dogs are just as bad as ever for the whole episode. But they bring in Gail, the lesbian dog trainer, who, let me just say, queen, icon. We love Gail, the lesbian dog trainer. She's the best. Alec also loves Gail, the lesbian dog trainer. Um, so Brad and I both made note of this because it was really funny. Gail was there talking to Hilaria, and then Alec comes in from what looks like a run, and he's kind of like holding up these, like, you know, when guys wear like shorts that are basically pants, they're like shorts, but they like go down past their knee, like as long as pants basically should be. And you're like, why are these shorts when they're supposed to be pants? That's what Alec was wearing. And he was kind of like pulling them up on his waist. And then he goes up to Gail and he's like, "Hello, how are you? My pants are falling off. Hang on." Like, just, "Hello, how are you? My pants are falling off." Like, just, that's the first time you meet Alec Baldwin. I,
And I thought like the most meta thing in maybe this whole episode was like right at the beginning of this segment when the dog trainer arrives. Alec is in the kitchen and he looks at her and he says, "Can you tell by looking at a dog if they're hopeless?" Because what I felt like was happening was Alec was asking about himself. Like,
right, he's the dog. Can you tell just by looking at me? Is there no hope? And let me just say, Alec, yes, I can tell by looking at you. And yes, there's no hope.
and then Alec goes on, like apropos of nothing, to tell Gail that he wants to get the same haircut as her, which, Gail, you look very butch and masculine, and I want to have a haircut just like yours.
He goes like, "I know this is weird, but I'm going to take a picture of you because I want your haircut." I do feel like there's kind of a trajectory that men can age into where it's like sometimes you have, like, you know, like the classic George Clooney where men really like, or Pierce Brosnan, they really age into their look and it's like a good thing. Some guys just age normally and that's also okay. Some guys age into becoming a butch lesbian. Some guys at some point in their life just make a turn and you're like, "Oh, that's like, you know, my aunt's decade long roommate or whatever." Like, that's like, you know, that is a butch lesbian who I would see at Disneyland with her girlfriend. Like, that is where Alec Baldwin is headed.
Why Disneyland?
Because like fucking lesbians loved it. Lesbian couples, they love Disneyland.
Oh,
They're
they do. Okay.
Yeah, lesbian couples, like many of them are the adult Disney fans that people talk about, and they're the best ones.
I covet your hairstyle.
That
I
was
want to
like,
look like a butch lesbian in my old age.
he really does desperately, and like you could see Hilaria like making a look on her face like, "Oh no, Alec is gonna take this photo of Gail, the lesbian dog trainer, into our fucking hairstylist and ask for this haircut, and I'm gonna have to fucking deal with it. It's gonna be a whole situation."
And you know, and then this brings up the issue of Alec Baldwin's hair in this reality show
Yeah,
because
what the
when
fuck is
I
up with his hair?
a lot like he did it like 4 different ways in this episode.
He kept talking
And
about it.
yeah, but like sometimes it's like down, you know, and it's kind of like he's got bangs and it's just sort of mashed against his head. But this is a guy who historically, like I always thought of as having like a great head of hair.
Like, known for his hair, kind of like almost like a David Lynch known for his hair. Like, he, not that he had one hairdo, but he always had like a really full head of hair,
Yeah, like in his youth,
like
he had that.
tall.
And then there's that part where he's talking about how Silvio in The Sopranos, like like the hair that he has, that kind of it's all brushed back, like
Yeah,
straight back.
and it's like
Was
straight back, but it's tall also. It's like, not quite a pompadour, but it's like brushed straight back and then kind of like teased in the front almost.
well, so he talks about that, and they show this like old photo of Alec in his his prime in his 30s or whatever when he had this like incredible hair. And then after that, in the episode, it looked like Alec put a bunch of like pomade in his hair, like it was
Yeah,
greasy.
Bleh.
and he had combed it back,
Yeah,
like, in
like
kinda trying to relive that old glory, but it was like, "Dude, it doesn't look right."
yeah, I think that he's, like, having, like, a really deep, like, sense of, like, insecurity and, like, some kind of, like, I don't know, depersonalization or something, like, not understanding what his identity is anymore, some kind of identity crisis about the fact that, like, he's not balding. Like, I don't think his hairline is really receding. His hair is just not as voluminous as it once was. He's no David Lynch. His hair didn't just remain as, thick and, like, lustrous and big as it once was, and he clearly cannot afford to go to Turkey and get those, like, hair transplants, and maybe he doesn't want to. And so he just, like, won't really accept that his hair is not gonna do what it once did.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Most people it's like, I wanna know what the gene is. Have they located what the gene is that David Lynch had with that fucking hair? Because I mean, that dude smoked, like, 2 packs a day. He did everything to kinda destroy his health, and he looked pretty healthy, and
He
that hair
looked
made him
great
look
to the very end, and the hair was fucking great till the very end. Like, he
yeah.
died with the best head of hair. I mean, it's really crazy. He is, like, I don't, and I think he did nothing to it, right? Like, I'm here fucking sleeping on a silk pillowcase and using expensive hair products and, like, making sure that my, braiding it before I go to sleep, and he's like you said, just smoking and eating cookies and drinking coffee, and his hair is just better than any man's hair ever was.
You wanna know something? I used to get my hair cut at the same place as him.
Did you ever see him
Uh,
there?
no, but I didn't even know because, like, I was, like, in a phase where I was like, "I wanna have David" every guy I feel like in the last 10 years is like, "I wish I could have David Lynch hair."
20 years.
Yeah, and I was sorta joking with, the gal that would cut my hair, and, she was like, "Oh, he gets his hair cut here." And she
Wow.
she pointed across the room, and it was just like this weird barber shop on Melrose. It wasn't like anything fancy. And, she pointed across the room, and it was just some woman was his hair stylist.
Wow, and then you were like, "I wanna go to her and get the David Lynch." Like, why don't you should go to her from now on and just say, "Give me the David."
But the thing is that I can't get it because I don't have the right hairline and I don't have the right hair. You can't get that hair.
You
You have
need
to
a certain
have
length of hair, and you need to have a certain hairline, it's true. He, like, had,
eh
like, a very straight hairline and really thick, wavy hair. Like, he had the kind of hair that if he had grown it out, he could have sold it for hair extensions for a lot of money.
yeah, like, so you can't manufacture that. You either have those genes or you don't.
It's really true. I mean, you can get surgeries, but, like, even then, it's a little you never quite know. It's kind of a crapshoot. You could either have, like, weird fucked up Barbie hair, or you could have, David Lynch full head of hair, and it's like you'll never really know which one it's gonna be.
So before we get off this dog training segment, I just wanna say that I one thing I did not like about Gail is that she was treat training the dog.
That's bad.
Like yeah, and I'm not a fan. Use a
How do
shock
you train
collar.
it otherwise?
Shock collar.
A shock collar? Isn't that mean to the dog?
They learn.
I
If you treat train the dog, then you always have to have food on you. And the dog just looks at you as if you're just like a food factory. They don't even care.
Yeah,
They
that's how
just
my
want
dogs look
food.
at me.
And I don't wanna have dog treats in my pockets, and then it goes through the laundry, and it's like, no. What you need like, if you think about wolves, right? If we're gonna get, like, biological about this,
Mhm.
if you think about a pack of wolves, there's the alpha, right?
Right.
And that's the leader of the pack, and if what the dogs have a disagreement or get out of line, how do they settle it?
Right, they go to the
It
alpha.
well, they don't talk, and they don't give each other little, like, kibble.
They sneeze
They
to vote. Did you know that?
My dog sneezes all the time when she's happy. That's the dogs that signal that they're friendly by sneezing. I looked it up online.
They signal that they're calm and not gonna hurt you by yawning, but wolves, when they want to hunt, they will sneeze to vote, and if the majority of the pack sneezes, they go hunting.
Well, Twiggy wants to hunt because she's sneezing all the time when she gets excited, but I just think that, like, a wolf pack, the way that they're gonna settle it is they're gonna have it out, and it's usually really quick. It's not like they have, like, some long protracted physical altercation, but they'll snap, they'll grab the alpha will grab one of the other wolves by the neck and scruff and just, like, they settle it.
Right.
And so dogs learn through physicality and repetition,
Hmm.
and that's how they're wired. So you're not trying to torture the dog, but what you do is you get a training collar and then you create an associative learning experience where the dog learns that when you say no, they get a tiny little correction on their scruff. And you can train them. Like I never use it. I haven't used it in years because I don't have to. You do it for like a week and the dog is trained.
I see. So this lady was, like, saying positive reinforcement, and you are saying negative reinforcement, basically. Like,
I'm saying dogs learn through physicality and repetition, and I worked with a trainer who used this method, and I was, like,
I've heard about this
astonished.
trainer. He's insane.
He's like an ex-Marine.
Yeah, he's completely insane. He has like a compound where he trains dogs like to be
Yeah.
so fucking like rigid. It is so insane.
He trains, like, attack dogs, and he trains,
Yeah.
like, like, service dogs and drug sniffing dogs and all this shit, so it's like he's a master trainer, and, like, I've seen it with my own eyes, like, the guy is incredible with dogs, but, yeah, I mean, you send your dog to this guy, and, like, 2 weeks later, your dog comes back, and your dog is, like, fully trained soup to nuts for the rest of its life.
So it's kind of like the opposite of kids. Like with kids, you have to be like, you did a good thing. Here's positive reinforcement for doing the good thing. And then you won't want to do the bad thing because you don't get the positive reinforcement for it. But with dogs, it's like they need to get negative reinforcement for doing the wrong thing so they know not to do the wrong thing.
And you wanna make yourself the treat.
Right.
Like, you don't wanna
You'd
be
be
like,
like,
"Here's
good
food,
dog.
here's
Like,
food, here's food." Yeah, when they
right.
get a good dog, they're like, "Oh, I did it," and,
Right.
dogs learn through physicality. That's how they
Hmm.
correct one another physically. They don't give each other little treats.
So these dogs are going to be fucked either way, is what you're saying. They're never going to get trained.
It's just that,
Not
like,
by this
people
lady.
people love to think of themselves as, like, kind, like, and I mean, look, I'm, like, a former hippie, like, I'm not some sort of, brutalist, but I just think that, like, people can get kind of, like, they can overdo the, like, "I love animals" thing, and it's like, "Listen, this is how this species communicates. This is
Yeah.
how they deal with shit.
I do
Like,
feel
speak
like
their language."
you like if you see people who like live on a farm or something or like in like a more rural area, like they're much more like they're kind of smacking the animals around, like not literally smacking, but like you got like a horse or a cow or something and they're not going, you are literally smacking them being like fucking go, and then they're like gonna go and it's fine. Like I think that like people are a little bit too, and this is coming from somebody who like is I can barely yell at my dogs, like I can't even do it, like I'm like not a good disciplinarian, but I do think that a lot of people like don't know the difference between treating an animal like with respect and like treating it with like kid gloves in an unnecessary way.
Well, listen, if you train your dog well, and you do it early especially, then your dog is going to have a life in which people are happy to be around it and happy to see it, and they're kind to it.
Yeah, and it feels
Uh,
purposeful and it doesn't feel angry all the time. It's like a happier
it
dog.
dogs and this is the thing, like, this is what this trainer showed me is that, like, a lot of times people are like, "Oh, my dog is freaking out. I just need to exercise it to death in order to get it to calm down." That's like a common fix that people think they need to incorporate, and if you train the dog properly and it knows, like, who the alpha is and it knows, like, what the boundaries are and, like, how it's supposed to behave, it relaxes.
Right.
Like, a lot of that, like, like, quote, unquote, "energy" that
It's
people think their dog
anxiety.
has, it's anxiety.
Yeah.
The dog doesn't know who the alpha is, it doesn't know who's in charge,
Right.
doesn't know what to do, and once it does, it just chills out.
Yeah,
It's
right.
amazing.
Yeah,
It's
because it just
amazing.
feels like, oh, it's getting punished randomly. It doesn't know like what to do and what not to do. If you feel like you give it instructions as to what to do and what is the good thing to do and it knows how to do that, then it's just happier. It doesn't have to be like hidden away from people and it isn't like being punished constantly.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, you can treat train a dog. It's not like it doesn't work. I mean, I'm sure Gail's a fine trainer and it'll probably be effective, but then you better have treats on you, like, at all times so you can make sure to feed the dog every time it does what you want, and
Yeah. With Alec's OCD, I mean, I don't think he's gonna want to have food in his pockets.
this kibble is disgusting.
It's just there's kibble everywhere.
It is gross, though. You have that, like, it crumbles, it smells like fish and whatever. It's like,
Yeah, it is
forget it.
gross.
I'm over it.
It's ugh. No, I hate it. And yeah, I mean, so he in the episode goes on to after talking about his $40,000 rug to continue discussing rugs because I guess the dogs had pissed and shit all over the $40,000 rug and so they needed to buy a new rug.
Or they were buying a new rug for, like, the playroom.
Oh, it wasn't even the $40,000 rug
I
that they
don't
were
think
replacing?
no, because the $40,000 rug was under their dining room table, I think.
Oh, okay. So
And
this
so
was in the playroom.
yeah, and, like, so they bought some but the thing that, like, I think they didn't have a segment because they had this, like, staged fight where like Alec and Hilaria are supposedly like trying to team up together and measure like
I don't know if that fight was staged. That seemed like a real bicker, and maybe they like made it into a thing afterwards because more happens with this rug. But like they were measuring the room, and Hilaria was like, "You have to measure from the floor because there's like molding, and so like the molding is going to be part of it. If you measure, it's 14 by 15." And Alec was basically saying like, "No, it's going to be 14 by 12, and I don't have to measure where the molding is because then we're just going to have a couple inches of room, and it's fine." And
he he's
Hilaria's like,
he's right. He's right. Like that's just the thing I don't understand about that whole fight is that like it's not hard to measure a room to figure out what size rug you need.
well, and she's right that you should measure from the floor, but she's wrong that it should go like right up to the molding like that. You should give yourself a couple inches.
And there's not one right answer. You just want to give yourself, like you say, some space.
Yeah, and you want to like also like rugs come in sizes. So it's like you're going to pick the size that like, they're not all going to be like, 14 by 15.5. Like most of them are going to be 14 by 12 or whatever, 14 by 14, and you just have to pick the one that fits the best. So they're having this like whole bickering thing, which like seemed so silly and so insane and like too well acted to be fake. That seems like a real bickering thing that they had, and I believe that their arguments are that stupid. Like that makes sense to me that they would bicker over something that dumb, and both of them be just so stubborn over it, so stubborn that Hilaria does something insane. So they have not agreed on the size of the rug that they should have. They're still in disagreement about that. And then Hilaria is looking online for rugs and saying, well, rugs are this size, that size. And Alec gets angry and is like, we're not buying a rug online. That's completely insane. We're going to the quote rug store, which I guess is something that exists. And then he says, you shouldn't buy anything online besides cans of dog food. I, which I just like, I was fucking cracking up. He is too old to trust online shopping
For a big
at
ticket
all.
for a big ticket item. This is a man who buys $40,000 hand-woven Parisian rugs. He's not
It's like
used
a
to
rug
this.
for the playroom. Like you want to spend like $200 at IKEA and just buy like a fucking white rug and be done with it. Like that like Hilaria is right in that way. Like just fucking like spend a little money on a rug online that is like a shitty rug because the kids are going to fuck it up anyways. Like why do you need to spend all day at the rug store touching rugs? Just get the one that is the material you want and be done. If it's not right, you can return it. Fine. Or go to IKEA physically. The rug store? Who's going to the rug store for anything ever? What is the rug store? That's like that is old people shit.
I've never been to a rug store.
I've never been to a rug store. I've been to like, World Market, I've been to IKEA, I've been to CB2, but like I've never been to a rug store.
I like to see the rugs in person. I like to
He likes to
feel the
touch
rugs. I
them.
want to touch the rug and know the fiber. I want to know the name of the man who wove my rug before I put it in my house.
Oh, Alec, I just buy one online. It's no problem.
It's about
How you
quality.
say the Amazon, how you say Prime?
God damn it, Hilaria, don't interrupt me. I'm talking about the beauty of a hand-woven artisanal rug.
So she then does what I would say is a truly insane thing to do to a partner who you live in the same house with. I would never do this. And I don't know if it was planned or not, but it was still pretty funny. She starts talking about her ADHD and uses that as an excuse. Well, so she says because she has ADHD, that means that she's creative and efficient and likes to solve a problem and get it done right away. Okay, that is literally the polar opposite of what ADHD is. ADHD is the opposite of that. That is why it's a problem. If ADHD was like, I get things done and I'm creative and a problem solver, then ADHD would not be a disorder.
Yeah, it's like a superpower in that
It
case.
Right. In that case, you're just somebody who really gets things done and is really like good at life. ADHD is the opposite of that. You can't get anything done. You can't solve problems easily. You're constantly like starting things and not finishing them. Like she literally doesn't know what ADHD is, which maybe is part of her ADHD. Uh, so she's talking about that, right? And that is her excuse for what she does, which is purchase a rug online, despite Alec's explicit wishes that she don't do that. she buys it in the size that she wants it, not in the size that Alec wants it. And then she enlists her kids to help her put the rug down while Alec is out of the house. Now, there's a note here that I want to discuss, and it's mainly about Brad. So somebody comes and helps Hilaria put down this rug. It's adult man. Okay.
Yeah, I think I figured it out. I think I just missed. Like I looked away from the TV for a second, and like all of a sudden this guy was there, and I thought he was just like the rug delivery guy.
Well, so they didn't. It was all of a sudden this guy was there. They didn't explain who he was or anything like that. There was no moment of being like, "Here's who this guy is." But anybody watching the show who understands how what a gay man is would know instantly that is Hilaria's gay male friend who she invited over to help her execute on like an I Love Lucy-esque plan where she's trying to get this rug in extra fast and then get the toys in place and blah blah blah. And he's funny and being funny with her, and they're clearly like best friends.
He looked like he was wearing some kind of uniform though too. It was like this weird yellow shirt. Didn't he? He looked like he looked like he was.
No, he looked like he was wearing like a fucking Yves Saint Laurent yellow shirt that cost $900 secretly.
Oh, okay. Well, she's
like a Hamptons gay.
She's had like multiple of her. She has multiple gay friends that she's had on the show. Her buddies.
She's and I mean this as a compliment as one myself, a professional hag, and I respect that. So she brings in the notes. Brad wrote, Hilaria asks rug delivery guy to photograph her, ? Are they flirting? Is he gay?
Listen. I have good...
And he did. She's putting out the rug and she's like, take a picture of me, and does like a little pose. And then he takes a picture and Brad's like, the rug delivery guy is photographing her? Are they gonna fuck?
Well, okay. So I looked away. I lost my train of thought. I lost my concentration. And I look up and like Hilaria is like doing some like coquettish like poses. And this dude is taking pictures of her with his phone. And I
directing her and being like, okay, honey, so like, wait, do like another pose like that. Okay, now kind of put your hand on your hip a little bit. And Brad's like, they are flirting so hard. She is going to cheat on Alec.
It was a flash. It was a moment. It was a destabilizing moment where I didn't understand what was going on. But then I sorted it out. Then I figured it out. It's not
figured it out because there was a note like several lines down that just said, is he gay? ? So Brad's gaydar is very broken.
It's really not. I feel like I have a good gaydar.
Generally, I thought you did too, but then I saw that note and I was like, what the fuck? What happened to Brad's gaydar? Is it okay?
I just thought he was like, I thought she was going to like fuck the rug delivery guy. I thought it was like...
The rug delivery guy was like, okay, let's put this rug out while Alec is gone. And like, you're like, that is a man who is going to fuck Hilaria Baldwin.
She's like, I don't care. He's young and able-bodied.
And then they did keep making this joke, which I thought was really funny, that like Hilaria sat Alec down at one point. I don't even remember what she said. It was like a joke, but she was like, Alec, I need to talk to you about something. And he was like, I know what it is. You're having an affair with Ricky Martin. I knew it. He's straight. No, it was like, she was like, I need to tell you something. And Alec was like, what is it? Ricky Martin is straight? And like Hilaria immediately, without missing a beat, goes, yes, and I'm having an affair with him, and I'm going to leave you for Ricky Martin. And then it kind of became like an ongoing joke throughout the show where they kept referencing her affair with Ricky Martin, which was kind of one of the first times where I felt like, oh, they actually like each other and have a similar sense of humor and were able to like riff in a way that was kind of funny.
Alec Baldwin's funny.
He is funny. He's funny. It's true.
He's funny. And she's got a good sense of humor. I don't think she's a humorless person.
I think they're both pretty funny, honestly.
Yeah.
I do. I think that like she can keep up with his sense of humor. Like that Ricky Martin bit, I was like, yeah, they both get it. They both have the same sense of humor. They're fast. They're, from big cities or whatever. They're like they're funny people. They are. They're insane and there's a deep darkness there, but they're funny.
I have to say that I've been impressed, like not just in this episode, but over the course of the series to date with Alec Baldwin's lack of vanity.
Yeah, it is. That man is. Brad and I, surprisingly, were out in real public recently, and a friend of ours said that she watched one episode of The Baldwins and said that Alec Baldwin is the most tired-looking man on the planet. And
wait, who said this? Who said this?
Jenny at AWP.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, and And I think that she's absolutely right. He's the most tired looking man on the planet. And like for somebody who's so concerned with the cleanliness of his house, he sure is wearing just like oversized stained shirts. He's got the biggest eye bags I've ever seen. I don't know if he's ever washed his face or worn sunscreen. Like he is a mess.
If I were doing a I would be a nervous wreck to have cameras on me. Even like the sit down, like I would be like, what do I wear? Like
Yeah, for the
what's
confessionals, I'd be having a stylist. I'd be making sure somebody is. He does not have a makeup artist doing his makeup before these confessionals, and that is really really crazy.
but Hilaria looks fantastic and like
Because
it's
she's got a makeup artist doing her shit. She's like clearly hired a glam team.
but it's like, yeah, well, dude, you're Alec Baldwin. Get a glam team in there. You're on
Hilaria is
TV.
not sharing her glam team. Clearly, she's got a glam team in there, and they're just leaving as soon as they're done with her and not helping Alec out at all. Except in this episode, there was a moment where you can I have an eye for this from Housewives because in the confessionals they'll have different confessionals outfits throughout the season, which will change, and you can kind of tell when they're doing the confessional based on what their outfit is. And so I was keeping an eye on their outfits, and there was a new confessional, which I think was a later in the season confessional with Hilaria and Alec. And I swear to God, that was the moment his Botox kicked in. It was like he got the Botox a little bit too close to when they started filming, and it didn't kick in until that episode. Or he got a little bit of foundation from a makeup artist, because there was one moment in the show where he started to look way less tired. Like still fucked up, but less tired.
He might have just gotten a good night of sleep. I mean, I can say this as an old person.
No, because it was not just his eye bags. His eye bags were still kind of there. It was the texture of his skin. He had like his skin was not, when you haven't slept well or you're whatever, and your skin's kind of like gray, and he's kind of got like these fine lines and wrinkles. It's the kind of stuff that Botox or a good makeup artist could hide from the camera, generally speaking, and it has not been hidden from the camera at all. Like the shape of the exhaustion was still there, but the texture of it was gone.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. Like, because you can really feel like this episode was the most overt they've gotten yet when it comes to trying to rehabilitate Alec's acting career.
Big time.
They're like, Hilaria's like, you think Alec's going to ever act again? He's like, oh, I don't know. I just don't know if I'm ever going to work again.
And she was like, he's a theater kid at heart, like, which is both like softening his image after he killed somebody and being like, no, but like he's like an actor's actor. Like he's a theater actor. Like he's a theater kid.
Yeah. So it's clearly the mission is to get him back working as an actor. And
Yeah.
I feel like, and I could be wrong, but I feel like there is going to be either at the end of this first season of the Baldwins or in its aftermath, like a reveal of like a new fit Alec Baldwin. I think that's coming. Like
Ozempic Alec.
Yeah, Ozempic Alec Baldwin, who has dyed his hair, has probably gotten some skin work done.
I think it'll be for a role though. I think that like he is gonna aim, and I think him and his agent are probably already working on it to like not get any like dumb little roles, no 30 Rock SNL type of roles. Not that he can get them anyways, but like some kind of like actory, like Oscar bait kind of role, like something where he's playing like a unflattering character, like he's playing like a dad who like is in a redemption cycle after his wife killed herself or something like that, and he is gonna have to be tired for the role, but like because it's a role, he's gonna try to look like a little bit better than he has in the past and like get a little bit in shape and kind of like not be so fucked up for it. And so it'll be like a new Alec doing like a very like character actor type, or like rather what do you call what Daniel Day-Lewis does,
method.
Yeah, it's gonna be a very method acting type of role.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see. He's going to do something. I gotta believe. But I'll be interested to see what it is.
Because Hilaria also, wants season 2 of the Baldwins so fucking badly, like so badly.
I think she's gonna Timberlake. She's gonna branch off and do her own thing.
She's gonna Timberlake.
Yeah, is that a verb?
It is now.
Yeah, she's gonna Timberlake the entire family, and she's gonna wind up, doing some sort of spin-off show if
Yeah.
Alec doesn't want to keep doing it, or Alec is quote unquote, he's back to work. So it's like Alec doesn't have time for this anymore. But
Right. Like, I think that if there's a season 2 of the Baldwins, obviously she's gonna do it, and then I think she wants to spin it off into, like, some kind of cooking show, I'll bet, like, some kind of, like, home Martha Stewart kind of show that she like, on Netflix or something like that, which she'll probably get, honestly, and then it probably won't do very well and she'll be done, but, like, she's definitely gonna try to do a lot of different things, like, for sure. And, like, so far, the Baldwins is the most successful, like, venture that she's done, and, like, so she's probably gonna try to hang on to it for as long as possible, but who knows. So again, just like going back to the kind of softening of Alec's image a little bit, making him be kind of actory, whatever. They have his daughter Carmen, who is the oldest kid, right?
yeah, she's the oldest.
Yeah, okay, the oldest of him and Hilarious kids. Has her do a little segment with Alec where she quizzes him on Gen Alpha lingo, on slang terms. Says things like, what is tea, what is lit, and like I also think watching that segment that she was a little bit young for those words and actually kind of didn't know what some of them meant completely either. But the one part that really fucking got me was when she said to Alec, "Okay, Dad, I think you're gonna know this one." Yeah. And he was like, "Oh yeah, that means a huge S." Instant. He instantly knew what a gyat was. Like, would you know what that is, Brad?
Yeah, because of my daughter. It's like
Yeah, because right.
I recognize myself in that segment with my daughter. Like she totally did like a similar thing with me where she was like,
Right.
I think there's even a TikTok meme where like kids ask their
Yeah.
parents like what these things mean, and it's like
There's one with Martin Scorsese and his daughter that's like hilarious. It's it is definitely a meme that kids are doing, and like, but it was just so funny how she instantly knew. She's like, "Oh, my dad's gonna know what the giant ass slang is for sure, no problem." Like, so funny, so insane, and like so accurate. He like didn't know what any of the other things meant, like, at all.
yeah, he's trying to, soften his image as a dad of a daughter. This is clearly his do-over.
Yeah. And clearly Carmen is his favorite child. I mean, we've seen it over and over and over again where he's just like, let's kill all the other kids. Like, Carmen is the best one. She's the most like me. Like, she is the favorite child, like openly the favorite child to Alec.
Well, and I think that, she's old enough to, like, riff with him, you know what I'm saying? He might just have an easier time
Yeah.
relating to an older kid than, like, just talking about, like, Skibbity Toilet with his sons, like, whatever the fuck I have to talk about with my son.
And I mean, also, like, oldest girl, like, that's like when you're the oldest girl, you are very mature, like, very, like, keeping your shit together, very much like not being the problem child. That's like your job as the oldest girl.
I'm looking online right now, and it sounds like, Hilaria is putting out a parenting book. That's like she's trying to
Of course.
build her empire, so she's putting out a parenting book, and then I don't know what News Nation is, but it's probably not a reputable source. But it says that Alec and Hilaria Baldwin's much hyped reality show may already be struggling to stay afloat.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The series, let's see, the series. Okay, this is right after the premiere, but it said it got a 0.68 in the ratings.
Which is not great, I assume.
It got a 0.68 in the ratings, which is less than the women's college basketball on ESPN.
I mean, women's college basketball is kind of popular, no?
I feel like women's pro basketball is getting popular, but
College, maybe not so much. That's funny. So yeah, the show is doomed unless something happens towards the end that makes everybody watch it. That's like so scandalous that everyone's like, "Holy shit, you got to watch the Baldwins."
I'm sort of sad. I would be sad if we didn't get a season 2. I feel like
No, we're not going to get a season 2.
I'm
I never
invested in
expected
this.
that. This is a one season show.
I've given like months of my life to this show.
Yeah, and I mean, do you want to give months more? That's the question.
I just don't want to say goodbye to these
We should
kooky.
start a petition.
Save the Baldwins.
Save the Baldwins, exactly. So
A GoFundMe.
this GoFundMe. So this episode then ends with Alec well, Hilaria asking Alec to go dancing, saying to Alec, "I think we should go salsa dancing." Uh, and she so they go to like a salsa dancing class, but Hilaria keeps saying like, "I want to go dancing. I want to have fun." Where could Alec and Hilaria realistically ever go dancing?
I don't even know where anybody goes dancing. Like, there's
Like
the
a club.
club. There's the
Like
club, but salsa dancing?
there's like clubs where you can go salsa dancing, but where could they possibly go salsa? Like they just couldn't.
They'd
So
have to
it's
go
like,
mix it up. They'd have to go mix it up with the normies.
and like they wouldn't, and like if they did, they wouldn't be able to dance because everyone would be approaching them. So, but they did take the class nonetheless, which is clearly like bullshit, and they're not gonna salsa dance ever again. Uh,
They barely did on the show. I mean, they
yeah.
barely did. I mean, there's not much. I thought we were gonna get to see Alec, like, make a fool of himself, like, trying to salsa dance, but it was very minimal what they showed.
Well, and it also turns out Alec is like a pretty good dancer from what I could tell from the minimal amount that they showed. He was like doing better at the salsa dancing than I would have.
Yeah,
Which I believe. He's been an actor his whole life. I would believe that he's a pretty good dancer.
it's like, I mean, I guess so. I don't know. I don't think he's that good, but he's not, like, maybe as bad as he could be.
Yeah, he wasn't a mess. He was able to like salsa dance and not look stupid, which is saying, kind of a lot considering he can't really like walk without looking stupid. And in this salsa class, one of the things that he did was bust out a Spanish accent. It was kind of like he was trying to like sound like Ricky Martin, trying to sound like a Spaniard who was trying to seduce Hilaria. But it just occurred to me that this is clearly the accent that Alec uses to make fun of Hilaria in the house, right? Like,
'Cause
it's
he does I don't think he speaks Spanish. I think the kids do,
no,
and so I wonder, like, if she does and the kids do, they can just talk shit about him behind his back in Spanish.
right. Which means that, like, I'll bet Alec busted out that accent to start making fun of Hilaria because she's talking about him behind his back. Then the whole world is making fun of her for pretending to be Spanish when she's not. I'll bet Alec is in the house doing that Spanish accent at her. And, like, because she didn't seem amused either. And it was really funny.
"I'll take you salsa dancing, Hilaria."
He's
It sounded like you. It sounds like his impression of her is like Mira's impression of, Hilaria.
It is. It's really similar. It's true. It's like it's basically the same. His is better, fine, admittedly, a little bit, maybe, whatever. I sound a little like Pepe Le Pew, but it was similar. It was very similar. And she keeps like I don't know if you noticed this, but well, first of all, Alex salsa dancing in that class and doing his Spanish accent was maybe the only time that he has seemed genuinely happy in the entire show to me up until now. Like the only time. Like maybe when he was on the ranch talking up like the fucking farmers or whatever. But this salsa dancing class, he seemed like he was genuinely having a good time.
I mean, they're trying to, like, portray him as just, like,
And he's
the stay-at-home dad who's a good sport, who'll go out with his younger wife and try to dance and give it his all.
and he's tried to be that way in other episodes, and it has come off as phony to me. But for some reason, this salsa dancing thing, I feel like he was performing, and so he was like stoked.
Maybe that's what
Like
it was.
he
Maybe at
was
a
up
wait.
there and he was doing a dance and he was learning it, and then he did learn it, and he was like, "Oh, now I'm performing the salsa," and he seemed like he was having a great time.
I like to dance. I like to feel the rhythm in my body, to move with the music. Hilaria, Hilaria. Bailamos, Hilaria.
Bailamos.
I think that, it's like it's also a little silly. It's that like, if you're on camera and you're trying to dance and you don't know what the fuck you're doing, like, it's, like, hard not to smile. It's just like I would be
Yeah,
probably
it's
the same way.
funny. It's true. And like I feel like it kind of made him forget about how exhausting and difficult the rest of his life is for just a moment.
And,
Um
Hilaria would not shut up about how she wants to have fun in this segment. She's like, "We've had fear, we've had flight, we've had fight. The new word for our family from here on out is fun. I wanna have fun."
it's so insane. And then she's like, in the past, like, we've done things that were like Alex things, like they weren't like fun. Like we would go to like Broadway debuts or we'd go to like the Philharmonic, like where, like that wasn't fun. Like, bitch, that is fun. Like, and also you married an old man. So like if that doesn't sound fun to you, then what the fuck are you doing?
Okay, yeah, this is where I have to like pump the brakes because it's like Hilaria wants to have fun. She wants to go out dancing. She's basically saying she wants to be 24 again. And she doesn't seem to realize that she's married to a 66-year-old man. She has 7 young children and like 11 pets. Like
Yeah, like
you're never having fun ever again.
why
Like
did you do that if you ever want to have fun again?
exactly. The die has been cast. Fun is over for you. Your life
Yeah.
is now all about raising these children. That's it.
That's it. Your whole life, you're done. Like
You
it's
get,
over. You did
yeah.
it. Your life is about Alec and the children, and the fun part is over. And if you don't think that going to the Philharmonic is fun, then you're never having fun again. Period. Because that's the only thing close to fun that you will ever get.
No, it's like you're gonna be like raising children, picking up dog shit, and like the only like facsimile of fun that you're ever gonna have is the dopamine hit that you get when you buy a rug online behind your
Yes,
husband's back. Like that's
that's,
it.
that's exactly right. That's exactly right. And I think that's a good note to end our our Baldwins recap on. Very accurate.
So wait, how many more episodes do we have? We have 2 more episodes.
Really, it's an 8 episode season.
I
Is that
I
right?
I think we went over that. I think it is 8, and I'm gonna,
Yeah,
I'll be bereft in the absence of this show.
man.
My entire life is structured around this family now.
In the final episode of this season, we're gonna have to show up in like full funeral gear and have a moment of silence. It's gonna be a sad, sad day.
I'll wear a black armband. You're gonna you're gonna miss me when the season is over, Mira.
My pants are falling off.
I love your hair. God, I wanna have braids like you, Mira. I wanna look like Willie Nelson.
I'm wearing 2 braids like Willie Nelson right now. Just FYI. That's gonna be his next time we see Alec, he's gonna be like much thinner from Ozempic and 2 Willie Nelson braids.
He needs to do that look. I feel like there is like it's like the older celebrities who like the man who they grew these beards just as a sign of like I'm so rich and famous and successful that I don't have to give a fuck. And then there's also the trend of like the older celeb dudes growing their hair out, having
Hmm.
like long gray hair. That's the other
Yeah.
thing that I've noticed a lot of them doing.
I mean, maybe Alec will like go for the Willie Nelson biopic and lose like 100 pounds and grow his hair out like that. It could work.
I would pay top dollar to see Alec Baldwin star in a Willie Nelson biopic.
I mean, Jesus, same. I would be there opening day, like midnight showing opening day. Like, absolutely. Like, I would be there so far past my bedtime. I would need to see that right away. I'd be rushing out of the house.
I can't think of a worse fit for somebody to play Willie Nelson than Alec Baldwin.
Oh, yeah, really. I'm not sure. Yeah, I genuinely don't know who could be a worse fit. It's so bad. I don't think you could get thin enough for that to make sense.
Well, what else is happening in the culture that we should make sure everybody knows about?
Well, let's see. So, SNL was this weekend, as it is every weekend, I guess, although I generally don't pay attention unless something happens, which it did this week. So, this week, country music singer Morgan Wallen,
I think it's Wallen.
Wallen, okay, Morgan Wallen, um, apparently refused to do an SNL sketch that he was slated to do, and Joe Jonas had to step in instead. I'm not totally sure what the sketch was. But then when the credits are rolling and you have the host out there being like, "Thank you so much to our musical guest," and blah, 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 and then everyone's hugging at the credits, he immediately left, walked towards the camera and left. And then right afterwards, he posted on Instagram stories a photo of his private jet with the caption, uh, "Take me back to God's country."
Get me back to God's country.
Get me back to God's country. I guess meaning like, get me out of New York City and back to fucking Tennessee or wherever the fuck he's from.
Yeah, good. Leave. Get the
Uh,
fuck out.
I mean, the get me back to God's country is such a hilariously stupid thing to say.
Well, these
Like,
guys are so fragile. They're so insecure, and
you
like,
can't even be in New York City. Like, you're doing a show. You're just going from your hotel to rehearsals to your hotel. Is it that fucking bad, dude? Like, what?
probably some like Saturday Night Live writer made a joke at his expense, and he just couldn't handle it.
Like,
That's
what a
probably
fucking bitch ass. I barely fucking like this fucking bitch is like, oh, I'm so important. I'm like, give me back to God's country. Who the fuck even is he? I like
yeah,
literally had to Google him before we fucking did this podcast because I have no idea who the fuck he is.
yeah. I have no idea. Just
I heard his name and I thought that it was like the fucking woman that Kyle Richards from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills like left her husband and became a lesbian for, but it turns out it's a man and he's another country singer.
And why the fuck does Saturday Night Live even have him on the show? Like, this is
They
what I don't get. Like,
they
like
love to do this.
Lorne Michaels loves to do this. They
Yeah.
don't. I think this. I think
Yeah,
the
Lorne
cat.
Michaels does. That's right.
I think the cast is like over it, but Lorne
Yeah.
Michaels insists on having these like MAGA people on Saturday Night Live, and it's like, dude,
Donald Trump hosted. Like,
yeah, don't
insane.
like draw a line somewhere for God's sakes.
I mean, like, if Hitler was alive, he would be fucking hosting SNL next week with fucking, I don't know, musical guest Ariana Grande. Like, it's insane.
With and like that Lenny Riefenstahl would film the little short comedy
Right?
films.
They would do like a little sketch about how like it's ridiculous that like Hitler's assistant is named Himmler. Like, how did he do that? I mean, yeah, they have a fucking problem. And also, like, I just want to say that I looked up when I looked up Morgan Wallen to figure out who the fuck Whalen, whatever the fuck his name is. When I looked him up to figure out who the fuck he is, there was a couple of things that I figured out. So first of all, his hit songs have the dumbest names maybe of all time ever. Uh, and it just seems fake. It just seems like if I had to invent what his hit songs were called, it would be this: More Than My Hometown, Sand in My Boots, Wasted on You, Cowgirls.
Why are these fucking country people always so fucking proud of where they're from? Like, get over it. Like,
It's fucking crazy. Who gives a fuck where you're from?
yeah, like, this is my town and this is where I'm from. It's like, all right, we get
Yeah,
it. You
we
love your
fucking get it.
hometown. Yeah, we
That's
fuck
great,
it.
dude. Like,
Everybody loves their
fucking,
hometown, but like, you
yeah,
don't have to
dude.
make a ballad about it.
Right. Like, or if you do, at least just make one and no more. Just one is enough. You don't have to make fucking 25 like this guy seems like he has.
And sand in my boots, is that what you said?
Yeah, sand in my boots.
So I guess he's like wearing cowboy boots to the beach.
That was immediately what I thought too. But also, like, if you were wearing cowboy boots to the beach, how could you even get sand in them? They're pretty tall.
Wear my boots. It's like I wear my boots everywhere. Like, like, I'll even go to the beach in my fucking boots because I love my boots in my
But then how
town.
does the sand leap up from the ground and into the cowboy boot?
And yeah, they're high. Like they go up to your
Yeah,
calf.
right. Like, how the fuck is, like, specifically a type of shoe that would not get sand in it on the beach, even though every other type of shoe would?
I love my hometown. I went to the beach in my boots. Got wasted. They're always getting that's it.
Wasted.
I like popular. Okay, I don't dislike all country music, but if you're going to be a country musician, you're either in the Willie Nelson, Chris Christopherson camp, or I want nothing to do with it.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like you're Casey Musgraves, you're, yeah, Willie Nelson, or it's like
or like Lucinda Williams. Like,
yeah,
there's
Dolly
some really,
Parton, like,
yeah, there's some great country artists, but this pop country on the radio, jingoistic, like psycho fragile manosphere, wrap yourself in an American flag and like, hit yourself over the head with a whiskey bottle kind of country music can just go away.
except there was one song that was on the radio a while back that was just called Drunk on a Plane, and I did really appreciate the simplicity of Drunk on a Plane, and the whole song, like the chorus was just like, I'm getting drunk on a plane.
I mean, look, listen, like there's like Willie Nelson wrote a song called Whiskey River. It's not like you can't write a song about like debauchery and
Oh yeah, or like
have
we're
it be
all getting
fun.
stoned tonight or whatever, like
Yeah, there's
the Hank
plenty.
Williams song "Getting Stoned and Singing All Night Long" is a family tradition.
Yeah. Well, that song is called Family Tradition, but
Family
that's
Tradition. There you
that's
go.
that's Hank Williams Jr. I'm more of like a Hank
Mm,
Williams Senior guy, but like
I don't know the difference.
I just think that like these people, this Morgan Wallen guy, like
Is a
being like
loser and a
just
bitch.
yeah, just being a little bitch on Saturday Night Live because they hurt his feelings and New York scared him, and he
Yeah,
just
like,
think
I'm storming off in front of the camera. Like, why didn't you just not do the goodbye if you were gonna do that? Just fucking leave. Like, just don't show up.
oh yeah, like either don't do it or just be a professional and
Yeah.
just play your fucking stupid
Suck it up
songs.
and do your fucking job and don't be a fucking baby.
Yeah, but he just he's too emotionally fragile, and it sounds like I think you weren't you telling me that he's like got a bunch of arrests for like
Yeah. So,
public.
like, he's one of these people where you go to the personal life section of their Wikipedia page and it's like, personal life, like family, legal issues. And then it's like, fucking 5 paragraphs of legal issues. So let's go through it.
Oh
In May
my god.
2020, he was arrested and charged with public intoxication and disorderly conduct after leaving Kid Rock's bar in Nashville after reportedly kicking glass items inside of the bar and getting into altercations, blah, blah, blah. Now, Kid Rock has a bar in Nashville is the most important thing that I am getting out of this paragraph. I did not know that. Did you know that?
I might have had like some vague distant awareness, but I tried to block it out.
Yeah, and so Kids Rock Bar is his bar is named exactly what you think it would be named, which is Kid Rock's big ass honky tonk rock and roll steakhouse. Um, Sounds about right. So he was kicked out of Kid Rock's bar for disorderly conduct, which holy shit. And then, so this was interesting. In October 2020, during the COVID lockdowns, he posted on TikTok ignoring CDC guidelines, where he was going into bars without masks and going to a football game without a mask. And as a result of this, he was supposed to be the musical guest on Saturday Night Live that week, and he was canceled as the musical guest, um, and was not allowed back until
Because he might have been
recently.
because he might have been exposed to COVID and
Right,
he could have brought it into the studio.
exactly. And at the time, it was very strict. Like,
But maybe this is why he was still feeling,
I think it
sore.
must have been part of it. Like it must have been. And so then in then in 2024, he was arrested after throwing a chair off the roof of a bar that had recently been opened again in Nashville. And he was charged with 3 counts of felony reckless endangerment and 1 count of disorderly conduct because the chair that he threw landed very close to 2 police officers who were on the ground.
Yeah, like what kind of person does this? Like he's just a bad drunk is what he is. Like doesn't
I mean,
surprise
look, if
me
the
at all.
chair had hit one of the police officers, then we would be in a different situation. I might have different feelings about Morgan Wallen, but for now, I do not like him at all.
You were this close, Mira. You were
I
this
was
close
this close.
to
I
having
was
like a
so
Morgan. You
close.
were gonna have a Morgan Wallen tattoo if that thing had hit a cop. You
Across my forehead, Morgan Wallen. Never heard one of his songs, don't know anything else about him.
God, I love that song, "Sand in My Boots."
It's the best song. I've never heard it, but it's wonderful.
Did I mention that he loves Jesus too and America and
Loves
his
Jesus and
truck?
America, killed cops, but that's part of his loving of America, right, folks?
That's right. Just desecrate that thin blue line.
So our next story is about somebody who I guess
Speaking
we
of
don't.
speaking of Jesus,
Yes, speaking of Jesus, there you go. I was gonna say our next story is about somebody who's arguably worse than Morgan Wallen, but you had a much better transition there. So, speaking of Jesus, Mel Gibson is reportedly doing a sequel to Passion of the Christ, and it is going to be called Passion of the Christ Two Christs. No, that's a joke. It is not called that. So he's doing a sequel to
it's
Passion of the
gonna
Christ,
it's gonna be called the Resurrection of the Christ
which makes sense. Um, and it is set to start filming in August. Um,
in Rome. They're gonna be
in
on
Rome,
location, and Jim Caviezel is reprising his star turn as Christ.
which the question that I immediately asked that many of you might be wondering is how the fuck is that gonna work when he has aged what fucking 20 fucking years since then? Like we're I mean maybe a little bit less, but like how the fuck is that possibly gonna work? Did Jesus age several decades between the crucifixion and the resurrection? The answer is no. And you guessed it, they will be using CGI to make him look young. Um
Well, so wait, like Jesus dies, and then I want to say like the story goes, he was dead for like what 3 days. On the third day, he rose again in fulfillment of the scripture. I remember this shit from when I was Catholic.
yeah, see, I'm a Jew, so you would know better than me.
So
My
that
people killed
means
Jesus.
where he can only have aged 3 days. But like, what happens? He died, so maybe when you die, you age.
I mean, I don't know if the Bible mentions anything about like, how much he ages in those 3 days. But I guess they're assuming that he did not age at all because they are using AI to or not AI, maybe AI, but they're using CGI to de-age him, which is completely fucking insane. Um uh, yeah, just beyond like the movie they're already calling it an acid trip according to Mel Gibson and the co-writer. Um and I am so excited to go get as stoned as I possibly can and see this in the theater the
I'll be
day that
there.
it comes out.
No, Mira and I have already decided we will be
Yeah.
there to see it together, and we will report back on our experience of the resurrection of the
Yeah.
Christ.
We'll do a special episode just for that. We're going to get as stoned as we possibly can. We'll take notes on it and so as we on the show do have a rule that we're supposed to say when we've seen a celebrity that we talk about. That's not exactly what I have here. It's a little bit different. So in high school, I was good friends. My like best friend in high school, who I did all of the drugs and bad shit in high school with, was a descendant. I want to say great or granddaughter, great great granddaughter of F. Scott Fitzgerald, writer of The Great Gatsby, for those who don't know. um, and her dad, Benedict Fitzgerald, was the co-writer for The Passion of the Christ. So in high school, we would show up to her house, which was a very fancy house north of Montana in Santa Monica. And the dad would be like in like a robe with like a gold chain, and you could see his like hairy chest, and he'd be like, "Oh, hey girls, like you want a glass of wine?" And would pour us like, a fucking fish bowl of wine. We were, 16, 15, something like that. And he would just like give us so much wine at like noon. This man was just a massive alcoholic. And apparently he sued Mel Gibson after The Passion of the Christ. So The Passion of the Christ, I guess, was known as like a massive, massive box office success. Made a huge amount of money. But this my friend's dad sued, saying that the budget of the film was significantly larger than what was disclosed, and that he would never have accepted such a low salary had he known what the production budget really was, which is apparently much higher than he disclosed, meaning that the movie didn't make as much money as Mel Gibson claimed that it did, if this claim is true, that the production budget was much higher than he said, because then, it's a net thing. So it didn't make as much money if the production budget was higher, and they're lying about it. But it was settled outside of court. So we'll never know.
Yeah, I mean that movie made a fucking fortune. Did
Eh,
like $600 million in box office. Like this, I think the resurrection will be huge. I think it'll make a ton.
I mean, if even we are going to go see it, I think it's going to be like a profoundly bad movie. Like it's going to be really, really bad. And I think it's probably going to be really anti Semitic too.
Well, the reason I want to see it is because I want to see how he's going to portray the actual, because the resurrection has always been the sticking point, or one of the big sticking points for me, and why I find Christianity like unpalatable. Is
Oh, that's why it's unpalatable.
well, I mean, I said it's one of the reasons. But just this idea that, like, the way that the resurrection is, contextualized is that, like, yeah, he died, and then 3 days later, he rose to the heavens. It's like, really? He, like, floated out of his grave? Like, this is what people, like, grown-ups believe this?
Did he rise to the heavens or was he like just back
Or
on Earth again for a
or
while?
well, yeah, whatever. He, like, he
Right.
rose from the dead, and it's like, actually, I don't think that's what it really means, but people, like, wanna believe in this cartoon version, and Mel
What do you think
Gibson
it really means?
I think that the resurrection, as I understand it, would be like, yeah, you die, but, like, there's no such thing. It's not like you become nothing. You don't you're not, like, fully annihilated. Like, you continue in consciousness and, like, your actions on earth continue you, and you're continued in your children, and you're continued in nature, and, like,
But is that what they meant in the Bible when they said like 3 days later Jesus rose?
I mean, I think that they needed to tell a good story to get people to,
Exactly.
line up and start donating, but, uh, there's a quote, like, in this article where, Mel Gibson is talking about trying to portray the resurrection, and he says, quote, "There's a lot required because it's an acid trip. I've never read anything like it." This is Mel Gibson talking to Joe Rogan on Joe Rogan's podcast.
I've never
He
read anything like it, referring to his own writing.
Yeah, my brother and I and, Randall Wallace all congregated on this. So
Congregated.
there's some good heads put together, but there's some crazy stuff, and I think in order to really tell the story properly, you have to really start with the fall of the angels, which means you're in another place. You're in another realm. You need to go to hell. You need to go to Sheol. I don't even know what Sheol is.
It's like temple. It's like you go to like shul like when you're like there's like a bar mitzvah.
It's very ambitious. It goes from the fall of the angels to the death of the last apostle.
What is the
So
fall of the angels and what is the death of the last apostle?
we're gonna find out at the we're gonna find out at an IMAX theater this summer.
I mean, like what the like I can't even begin to imagine what the fuck is gonna happen here. Like it is gonna be portrayed as so the exact opposite of what you just explained. It's not gonna be like a figurative, like you were survived in your children and in your legacy and blah blah blah. It's gonna be like Enter the Void Jesus edition.
It's gonna be like Tron. I think it's gonna be, like, super
Yeah.
visual and, like, trippy and, like,
If we're
I kinda
lucky, it's gonna be like Tron.
yeah, I think I can't wait. It's like, I can't wait to see, like, the actual treatment of this because this is the reason is that, like, if you're just doing a movie about the crucifixion, it's easy to ground that in reality. Like, I do believe Jesus was crucified because they used to crucify people.
Sure. And it's
Eh
also just like not like supernatural. It's just a thing. You could put the guy on the cross. It's like there's
yeah.
no like, rising to the heavens involved.
It's just like a brutal execution. So, like, that's a real thing, but, like, now you're getting to, like, the magical realism part of the story, which is, like, the crux of, like,
No
everybody
realism, just the magical, I think.
well, yeah, where, like, things take a turn, and it's not something that can be squared, and they're gonna try to portray it in a way that, like, I don't know. That's what I wanna see. I wanna see how they do it.
I mean, I want to see how they do it. I want to see the massive disaster that it is inevitably going to be cuz holy fucking shit, it is going to be so bad. And like how much funding is he even going to get for this? Like he is kind of like
No,
pretty
he's gonna
significantly canceled, but he's going to get a lot of funding cuz it's going to make a lot of money.
no, he's gonna fund it himself.
Oh, he's fucking funding it himself?
Well, that's what no, but no, listen, that's what he did with Passion of the Christ, and he made like $300 million off of that film, whatever he took home. But Mel Gibson is worth a fortune. He's got enough money to bankroll this himself. He doesn't need to share ownership with anybody. He's just going to find a distributor and he's going to bankroll this himself and he's going to bet on himself and he's going to become a billionaire, I think,
Oh
because
my god.
the Christians in the world will line up for this movie.
That's really true. We're
And
going to be in a theater with the enemy.
well, and Jim Caviezel says that I think Jim Caviezel says in this article that it might be two movies. Like he'll stretch the resurrection out over two movies. It'll be like Kill Bill 1 and Kill Bill 2.
15 years later.
Yeah, Kill Jesus 1.
It's gonna be Passion of the Christ, Jesus returns.
Yeah. So it's going to be it'll be fun. We have something to look forward to this summer. Mira and I under the influence going to see the resurrection of the Christ. And have you seen did you watch any of these clips of Mel Gibson talking to Joe Rogan, or have you just seen Mel Gibson lately?
Saw a picture of him in this. I'm looking at a picture of him in this article, that about the resurrection of the Christ, and he looks so fucked up. He looks like he is melting. He looks like he has a small Mel Gibson inside of his neck. Like something is really wrong with that man's face. He has never worn sunscreen in a day in his life. No one ever taught him what Botox is. He has no idea that he's wealthy enough to access like the best beauty treatments in the fucking world. He's never heard of moisturizer like ever in his entire life. I'm pretty certain he's never washed his face, period.
He just seems like when I see him, I feel like he's gonna start eating somebody's face. Like, he seems like he's on the verge of a psychotic break at all times.
He is.
Like there is rage. I sense rage in him, and it's scary. Like, if I were near him, I would be like, "I think he's gonna bite my face." That's what I
You know
think.
what he reminds me of? Like, you know how in Twin Peaks, when you see Bob, there's nothing supernatural about his face. There's nothing like there's no prosthetics or anything like that, but just him crawling towards you with his face is the scariest thing you've ever seen in your entire life. Like that's Mel Gibson. He's
And
just like him walking towards you, you'd be like, "Oh, that's a supernatural entity who is like gonna eat me and my soul and it's gonna like I'm gonna be tortured forever."
I wonder if, he's always been this crazy, or if, like, he had, like, some sort of break. And then it came out, or what, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like the Mel, I guess it was carefully curated, but, like, the Mel Gibson of my childhood seemed like a movie star dude. You know, he didn't seem like he was this, like, ideological and, like, intense and
Yeah.
violent, you know? But then, like, there's the booze and the drugs
Yeah,
and
the
then
booze and the drugs, and like I would bet he was just hiding a lot of it for a long time. Like I would bet that it was just kind of an open secret, maybe in Hollywood, that he's like this, and he just didn't say anything until Passion of the Christ came out, and then it was like, whoops, this movie's kind of really anti-Semitic. Oh, like
but, like, he's got good friends, like, Jodie Foster's, like, still in his corner, and
okay. Speaking of
Robert D
which, like, have you ever heard of the movie The Beaver?
like, I have vague awareness.
Okay, so there's a movie called The Beaver, and I think about this all the time, probably like once every couple weeks. It stars Mel Gibson and it is directed by Jodie Foster, also starring Jodie Foster. And it is about a middle-aged man who is unable to express his feelings except for through a beaver puppet. He has a beaver puppet on his hand, and with the beaver puppet, he is able to express his feelings and to cure his relationship with his family and his wife. And that guy is played by Mel Gibson, and that is a real movie.
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't, but I maybe should. It's like it seems like I love watching a crazy shitty movie, but like that's a lot even for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what, yeah, that, I mean, just like, how did that ever get made? Like, I guess it's because Jodie Foster wanted to direct it.
But
But
then like why in God's name did Jodie Foster want to direct that? Who would ever that is like even I know she's friends with Mel Gibson, but that's still a fucking crazy choice.
yeah, I mean, maybe it was like the comeback. Maybe by the way, Alec Baldwin is now slated to be the star of The Beaver 2. I
The
just
Beaver 2.
it just came in over the news wire.
The resurrection of the beaver.
I can only express myself with this puppet. It's got it's got big teeth.
It's got big teeth.
I don't understand I mean, I guess you don't know people until you know them. I think, like, Mel Gibson seems so transparently psycho to me, and his politics seem so problematic, and, like, now they're very overt because it's like the white supremacists and the super Christians have, like, ascended to power, so he's feeling himself right now. But
Yeah.
I,
He's feeling a comeback right now.
the sticking point is that, like, I find Jodie Foster to be totally delightful, and it's hard for me to believe that she would be friends with somebody who's, like, totally irredeemable. Like, he's gotta have some, maybe he's, like, better guy than it seems, but, like,
I
he
don't
just
know though.
I
It's
can't
tough
I
because
can't
like
hang with that intensity.
yeah, because like maybe personally he's like an okay guy, but then it's like he in the end is like just a racist anti-Semite, and so it's like how much of that are you really willing to forgive just because somebody has like a funny personality sometimes?
Or, but I will say that there are instances, I think, where somebody is such a fucking drunk that they do and say things when they're drunk that they would never, that they don't actually believe. They just like are just lashing out and being angry.
Right.
So
I mean, that is, yeah.
it's possible that like all of the bad, like the woman, you know, didn't he beat his ex-wife, or he was abusing her verbally at least?
Yeah, I think so. And like his kid, maybe?
I don't know, but like, and then also DUI. He was telling that he was saying anti-Semitic things to that cop when he got pulled over for a DUI. But like, you know, he could have just been in a blackout and just trying, like, you know, who knows why you say what you say when you're that fucked up. But what are you doing, Mira?
This dog is like jamming the door open.
Jesus Christ!
Christ almighty.
Train your fucking dog, Mira. Get a shock collar.
I'm gonna train my disabled 13-year-old dog.
I'm gonna send you a shock collar. Get that dog whipped into shape.
Yeah, it'll never fucking work. She'll just bark louder. Trust me.
So what else? Are we done? What else do we got?
Let's see. Well, we have one final, very quick story, which is that Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly had their baby. And their baby, they posted an Instagram post that just said, like, welcome celestial seed to the world. And so
wait. Welcome what?
Celestial seed.
That's the baby's name?
Well, so that's what everyone thought, that was the baby's name. They thought, oh, celestial seed, that's what they named the baby. But then they had to clarify. Machine Gun Kelly clarified that that is not the baby's name. That is just what they referred to the baby as. Like
they're like, wait. They're like, no, that's not the actual name. We're coming up with a much worse name than Celestial. Because I was like, celestial seed in the universe of like celebrity baby names is actually
it's not that bad.
No, I was like, okay, celestial seed. But now they're hard at work in the lab right now, coming up with an even worse name.
Yeah, all things considered, it's not that bad. Right now they're coming up with the worst name. It's gonna be like Heroin Uzi.
It's gotta, maybe some sort of like weaponry, something. I like the idea of there being some kind of and that's heroin with an E. It's like heroin.
2 E's.
2 E's.
Yeah, HEROINE.
Oh, yeah. I thought you meant like 2 E's at the end, like heroin.
Well, maybe. Yeah, maybe it's like 2 E's and then one with an accent.
Yeah, it's like the French spelling of heroin.
Right, exactly. And it's pronounced heroin.
Yeah, I don't know. These fucking people.
I could see them naming it after like a weapon of some kind. Like,
yeah, if Dad's Machine Gun Kelly, then you're gonna be like Snub Nose, Gunnifer.
I mean, it seems like vaguely abusive to name your child something that insane. Like, Jesus Christ, they're gonna have to live their entire fucking lives now being named fucking Gunnifer or fucking Honey Bundle Diaspora or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, that's honestly what's interesting to me. Is like, I can't wait for the actual baby name reveal to see if it's worse than Celestial Seed. Like,
I feel like it will be.
Yeah, I'm sliding my chips across the table, like betting that it's going to be like significantly worse than Celestial Seed.
Yeah, because like then at least someone could call you Celeste, and that's like a totally fine name. That's normal even. Celestial Seed is not, but like it has a nickname that could be normal. Versus whatever they choose, I don't think will have a nickname that could be normal.
I thought Megan Fox and the Machine Gun Kelly broke up. Didn't they break up? And now she's like having his baby. And
well, they did break up while she was pregnant, I believe.
Great. So they're like not even gonna like what happens when that happens? Does Megan get to name the baby, or do they collaborate on that? Like,
I mean, in my family, when it's happened, it means that the mom names the baby and the dad can get fucked. But who knows what their situation is?
Yeah, because I think that has like some bearing on what this child's name will ultimately be. Because I don't feel like Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox would pick the same thing.
They might, honestly. They're both kind of insane in similar ways.
It's got to be something edgy and like never been used before. That's the way celebrities want it to be, right? They want to have like original branding.
It's going to be something that is literally impossible to guess. Like, you just have to go through the dictionary and just pick words, and none of them would ever be right.
Good God. Well, I wish the baby health and happiness. I got to say that. Welcome to the world.
Welcome to the world. Hope you're okay. Sorry about whatever name you're going to get.
Nebula Starshine. I'm so happy that you're here. And we will be back next week for the resurrection of the Baldwin. The Resurrection of the Baldwin is a new documentary about my acting career, which is set to relaunch in 2026. I'm going to be in a Scorsese picture, playing a bit role. I've been given a small speaking part in a movie that Marty was kind enough to allow me to participate in the wake of my scandal and the hell that my life has been for 4 solid years.
And on that note, thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye, folks.